Hi guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So welcome for another one of our Saturday stash busting workshops, I guess I would call them, or anyway, just our fun craft along times. As you know, I had obviously started this, it was going to be a little series, and then I decided to use these workshops of using old supplies and things that we had bought and have either never used, maybe wish we hadn't bought, or, you know, things like that, into a Saturday sort of workshop, you know, craft along to replace the 3 and 30 challenge, basically. So what I've brought along here today, I have got these, which they're from K & Company. They're called die-cut cardstocks pieces. I don't know what actual... what do these say? Beyond postmarks, I think this might say. So that's what these are actually, you know, named, I think. There were 42 pieces in this pack, so it was a pretty ginormous pack. I've had them for the longest time, like, I mean, maybe 10 years. So I don't know whether you can even get these anymore, but I'm sure that you've probably all got very similar things in your stash laying around. Now, some of these I still really like, and so some of these I would still manage to find places for in my journals now. Some of them not so much. I mean, for instance, this Hello Darling, I mean, I probably, to be fair, I wouldn't really use that. However, I'm pretty sure that with a little bit of effort we can alter that so I can use that. Things like this, It's a Big Day, again, I absolutely love the shape of this piece. I don't know whether I would necessarily use that in my journals with that particular sentiment on it. This one here, Top Secret, maybe not, I'm not sure. This one, Make a Wish, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't use that in a journal. These ones, I love the shapes of all of these. This one says Love. I probably would use that as it is in a journal. I'd just ink it up and I would use that. So it's a variety of some I would use and some I wouldn't. But I'm sure that we've all got pieces like this that, you know, we have mixed opinions as to whether we could use them or not. So I just thought we'd come along, have a bit of a play and see what out of these pieces we can make usable. So if we just start with, like, say, for instance, these, and I've got 2 of these. I think most of them came in pairs, so I should have 2 of most of them, except for any that I've maybe already used, maybe one of them. Now, what I would probably do with this one is I would cut this out so it's just the rectangular piece. So I've just cut that down like that. To me, straight away, that looks more user-friendly than this one. I don't know about you guys, but that looks more in keeping with the types of things that we use. So I'm going to do exactly the same. In fact, I'm not going to do exactly the same just yet, because we might do, like, you know, before and after comparison, I guess. So I'm just going to be really ridiculous and leave it. So all I'm going to do is first of all take my ink and just distress ink around this a little bit, which instantly changes that. And so instantly that's looking more useful and usable, you know, without doing anything else really. So straight away it's a more usable piece like that. Okay, now next I want to cover up where it says Hello Darling. So what I'm going to do is we could take something plain and put that in there. So let's just try that. So this is just obviously some book page. So, I mean, again, I don't measure, and this often trips me up, and I probably should measure, because then I wouldn't spend quite so much time having to repeat steps. but you know, that's just not for me, to be honest. I mean, sometimes when I'm watching a video, you know, I love the video, and then people might start getting out the paper trimmer and talking about the measurements, and I mean, it just sounds really awful, but I just straight away then I switch off, because it seems like that's just, you know, beyond where I'm at, really. You know, it's not for me, really. Right, so straight away that looks better for me, so I'm just going to ink this up. Might just go in just around the edge like that. Okay. Okie dokie. So I'm going to take my Yoo-hoo glue stick, which I've only ever used a couple of times so far. It's that blue one, you know, which allegedly you can see in blue and then it dries clear. So let's hope that it does. I've only, like I say, used it I think once or twice before. So yeah, not great with the glue stick. Right. So that's that piece stuck down now. And then what we can do is just add like maybe a little bit of lace trim behind there, like that. Oops. Actually, we could have that one. Well, I guess we could do this with the other piece in a minute. So let's just stick with our original plan. So I'm just going to glue that lace onto the back of here, like that. Just want to check I've got that the right way up. Okay. Okay, so that looks good. Like that. And then what I'm going to do is just take one of our little word embellishments. So we created these just from some book page words a few weeks back. So just take a word, anything you like. This one, celebrate life. Okay, and we can just ink that up like that and just pop that on there. Oops. Oops, now stuck on my piece of paper there. Okay. How pretty does that look? So, could just finish that off with maybe like a Martha Stewart butterfly, which I just like to have a load of those just ready punched. So, I just grab that one, which is reasonably neutral in colour. So, just ink that up. It's a little bit pearly, this one, but you know, the paper that this has been punched out of, but that's fine. Pearly, but still quite colourless. And we can just pop that on there like that. Oops, it's now chucking it down with rain again. Okay, so if I just move that to one side, just to show you, we've obviously created that from this. So, you know, don't throw your stuff out. I mean, obviously some things can't be changed, you know, or would perhaps just, yeah, be like, you know, flogging a dead horse or whatever that expression is. But a lot of things can be changed. So let's just do another one of these. I mean, wouldn't it be incredible if we could actually get through this whole pack and transform this whole pack from unusable pieces into highly usable pieces? That would be just incredible, wouldn't it? So we'll just ink this one up like that. I mean, I love a frame. I love a frame, I love a label. So these are just brilliant because they are a effectively frames and labels. Got the rest of that, so I'm just going to trim that down. And they've just been sat there for, like I say, probably about 10 years, you know, just not being used. So to be able to use these is just awesome. Right, just cut that down about here. Okay, so we'll just go in and ink around that a little bit. I mean, I don't mean that we would get through these in one day, of course, you know. That would be pushing it somewhat, but it would be cool if we could get through them eventually. Okay, so let's just... Oh, still just struggling to use a glue stick. I don't know what is wrong with me, but clearly the glue sticks are not really my bag, I think. So, okay, pop that on there like that. And then obviously we've got this bit of lace. So, I mean, this is also great because I'm just literally using rubbish from, you know, what's laying around on my desk, which, you know, is also a brilliant thing to be able to use up some of the stuff that I've got laying around. I'm not digging out, you know, extra bits and pieces. I'm just using whatever's here. Of course, if you have a nice tidy desk, then oh well, maybe you're at a disadvantage. maybe a messy desk is the way to go after all. No, I'm just kidding, but for me, obviously, the messy desk thing is really awesome. So this one's already been inked up. It says the word dedicated, so just take that and just pop that on there. How cute and how pretty is that? And that's just come from literally those couple of bits. And I'm not saying those bits were ugly. I'm just going to pop a bit of bling on this one too. Not saying those bits were ugly, they're fine. You know, they would have been fine for like scrapbooking. They're not quite so usable, I didn't think, in the journals. I mean, you know, that's a sweeping statement. Of course, some journals they would have still looked fine in, but I just think now they're more likely to get used. So, you know, it's just sort of making them more likely to get used. So that one's got a bit of bling as well. Aren't they pretty? So I'm just going to pop those to one side. And let's see how many of these bits that we can get through and alter today. So let's see what else we've got here. Well, again, we've got this one, special delivery just for you. I mean, again, I'm drawn straight away to absolutely loving the shape of this. Excuse me, I was just fidgeting around on my chair. Loving the shape of this, not so much loving the circus elephant and the, you know, special delivery just for you. It's very birthday orientated. So, I mean, obviously fine if you were making some cards, but not so much for our journals. So, again, I'm just going to ink around the edge there. And let's just see again, you know, what I might just happen to have floating about. So what have I got floating about? I've got some of my vintage photos. So let's just... Right, I think that's too big really as it is, but let's just cut that down. Like that. Okay. It's probably still too big. Well, not bad actually. That's not too bad. So all I need to do is trim that down slightly more up the top. So let's hope that I haven't now overdone it and mucked it up. Okay, not bad at all. So we can just pop that in there. Now you can probably see just to the side, I've got the turquoise showing. So what I will do is try and have it so all the turquoise is showing in one place, if you see what I mean. Like if I put it in the center, I've then got a bit of turquoise showing at either side. Can you see that? So then I'd have multiple sides to have to cover the turquoise up. So what I'll do instead is just place it down so that I've only got the turquoise showing in one place. So I'll just glue this down. As you can see, my glue is streaming out of here. So I'm going to move it over, actually move it over there. So all my turquoise now is showing on that one side, like that. Okay, so press that down, just use my wipe to get rid of any oozy glue, no, excess glue, there we go. Okay, and then it's very easy to then cover up that turquoise. So I could take now maybe some lace trim, put it on the edge, or, you know, I've got a butterfly or something. Actually, I really like that with the butterfly, weirdly enough. So again, these are just things that are floating on my desk. And when I say floating, I really mean buried, obviously buried on my desk. So I'll just use my 3-in-1 glue. Okay. And depending on how you glue that will depend on whether you cover that up. So you want to kind of place it where you're getting rid of the majority of the turquoise. So, oh gosh, she says as she then sticks it onto her finger. There we go. Right, so if I stand up now and try and bring that closer to the camera. So you can probably just about see I've got a little speck of turquoise there and a tiny speck down here. Now, personally, that doesn't worry me. You can really barely see those bits. I mean, you have to kind of scrutinise that pretty well. If I hold that down there, I can't really see those at all. So for me, that's covered that up, and that just looks so pretty now in that little frame. And again, that's gone from that to that, basically. So it's gone from, you know, what I would deem unusable to now usable. So I'll just pop that to one side and we'll just do another one. So we might as well just do the next one, which is a similar one. So again, I'm just grabbing things that are on my desk. I've got this lovely lady stamp that we used a few weeks ago. So just see whether I could have her on here. Now, this one might be trickier because obviously I might not quite be able to get this torn in, you know, a good square that's going to sort of neatly cover up the turquoise, if that makes sense. So it might be that, you know, this one maybe won't work, but let's have a look and see. Again, it would if you cut it, but I obviously just have this aversion to cutting, so it's my own fault if it doesn't work. Okay, so if we have her like that, and then literally I just need to kind of tear that tiny weeny strip off the bottom. So we just tear that tiny bit off. Come on, like that. Okay, so if I was to place her there, again, we've covered up most of that turquoise now. So I'm just checking which way round I want to have her to best cover it all up. So probably up this way. So I'm just going to, oops, glue her on with my regular glue rather than my 3-in-1. So Again, it's very oozy, so please excuse my oozy glue. So I'm going to pop her down there like that. Get my wipe. Okay. Now, there we go. Just popped her down. So she's this gorgeous Crafty Individuals stamp. Beautiful, beautiful stamp. And I'm just going to then ink around there like that. Again, I do apologise for the fact that my glue is now heavily showing through this. It's very annoying, but hopefully it's going to dry invisible. So, you know, where you've got the outline of the glue, they've obviously done something to the glue. I'm convinced of it now. It's annoying. What can I say? So we could have like a little flower up here, or maybe some lace along the top. We could have a bit of trim. Oops. Oh, come on. Could have just, oh my gosh, look. What is going on? That's just stuck all over me. So let's just cut a tiny weeny bit of lace, or a teeny weeny bit of lace. I mean, that just looks really pretty, doesn't it? And literally, I mean, the purpose of that lace is merely to cover up the turquoise. So we'll just pop that on there. It works wonderfully to cover that up. Oops. And then we're just going to have a little bit of bling. Like that. Oops. Okay. Right. Now, don't dare touch anything because it's all going to stick on me. So let me just wipe my fingers. Oof. Right. So again, that's now been made from, you know, that what started out as the elephant sort of postcard. So, I mean, as I say, that glue is hopefully going to dry invisibly and stop ruining the look of that image. But so we've got those two different pieces from that one elephant kind of card. So quite different looks, but very usable now in our journals. And I mean, actually, you could ink them on the back and have them as journaling cards rather than pieces that you would glue down. So, you know, they're pretty good pieces, I think, now. So let me just actually check the time. So we're at 23 minutes. So we've probably got time for one or two more. So let's have a look and see what other bits that we've got. Well, we've got this one, which is really rather nice. So congratulations on your... So again, you know, this is something that you would maybe use for a card or something. I probably wouldn't now use this overly much. So I might as well, you know, use it in my journals. So we'll just hopefully manage to transform it into something that we can now use. So again, I mean, I've got these photographs that they might not be quite big enough actually, but if I just cut around like roughly the oval shape of this man. Like that. Okay. So he's not too bad on there. I mean, as you can see, we've still got like the green behind him. So it's just about now disguising that green. So if I just pull in maybe some lace. Just wondering whether we could pop it like that, and it would almost be like a banner piece. So I quite like it like that, actually. Just going to glue this down. Like that. Okay. Just press that down. And I'm just going to cut it so it's, you know, just roughly sort of similar at the other end. Doesn't have to be perfectly the same. Then we're going to take our man. Now we can pop him on like that, or we can pop him onto like something else and then onto there. So we'll just see what I've got laying about. Just seeing whether I've got some fabric. So I've got this, which was the lining of a sort of blouse, which he might be quite good on. So let's just have a look. I just cut that down. Oops. So this is quite, what's the word? You know, thready, frayy type fabric, which is wonderful, obviously for our journals. So I'm just going to cut it round, and then obviously I want to make it a lot more raggedy around the edges. So I'm just going to pull it about, hopefully make it look a bit more sort of raggedy and less uniform, you know, like that. Oops. Oh my gosh, look at what's going on here. Oh, right, okay. So then we're going to take that. Obviously now you can see it's massive and it's now covering up the entire base. So that wasn't really my plan. So I need to, you know, make that much smaller. So right, let's just, if we pop him on there, I'm going to have to now trim much more in. Okay, because otherwise might as well not really have that piece there at all, and that I guess really defeats the object of what we're trying to do here in the using our old pieces up. So right, so we've got this piece now. It down like that. Oops. Oh gosh, it's quite fiddly to get hold of and place, strangely. Right, okay, well I'm happy with that. I mean, you can't really see what I'm doing because it's just sticking to me constantly and very fiddly to get stuck down, but actually once I start sticking it down it will hopefully be easier to handle. So just going to pop the glue, you know, all around here. Oops, like that. Okay, and then we're going to just take our man. And I mean, obviously for this piece, anything that you had that were shaped roughly the right shape could go on there. So anything that you've got, if you've got these kinds of shaped pieces, you can normally find something that would be able to be stuck on there. And if it's not quite the right size, you can pad it out with fabric, with book page, things like that. So that's that piece there. And that obviously has come from originally this. So again, pretty unusable, pretty usable. So, you know, just kind of demonstrating that please don't be deterred and kind of think, oh, I can't use that now. I'm pretty sure that a lot of things that we have, we've got other things that we would be able to work them with. So for instance here, if I take the next one, now I've got one of Rachel's labels here. I'm not sure whether this is going to be quite right either. So let me just pop that to one side. I've got some of my frames. Oh, that's quite nice. Although that is pink. So let me just pull in perhaps my blue frame. So I've just cut out one of my blue frames. I mean, weirdly, I don't mind that even in the pink, but again, that's probably, you know, that's where how I came to buy all these things in the first place, because I love the colour. But the usability factor of having the pink on there, it's not very usable in our junk journals. So, you know, I mustn't be swayed by my love of colour, because that's what got me into this mess of having loads of stash in the first place. Well, loads of stash that's then not necessarily that usable. So, okay. Right, let's trim around there. Okie dokie. Okay, so if I take that one now instead, much better, obviously. You know, I liked the pink, but to be fair, even I think this one looks better. So if I just now, again, ink up this piece, and I don't really need to ink this up very much because most of this is being covered by the other frame. So all I need to do is get in just right round the actual edges where it's quite white, like that. Okay, so when that then is placed on there, it's like that. So again, I'm just going to ink this just literally right at the edges, and that then disguises anywhere where my fussy cutting's been a bit off, you know, kind of gets into any white page that's still showing, and we'll go for it like that. Okay. So that's quite pretty like that. Now I'm just going to glue this one on. Come on. And then again, what I might do is, look at my glue. Ugh, just ridiculous. Oozing out everywhere. So again, let me just take my white, because I have obviously lots of glue to mop up that's just oozing everywhere. So we'll just mop those bits up. Okay. Right, so okay, so we've mopped around there. Now I'm thinking with this one we might be able to do this like a rosette. So whereas we did the man like a piece there that would go maybe on a tag, or, you know, maybe on a belly band or something, I thought we could maybe do this more like a sort of rosette. So just with a piece hanging down at the bottom. What do you guys think? Let me just put in the beige lace. Oh, that's quite nice, isn't it? So if I just, I don't know how this will work, trimming this, you know, with that banner type of finish, because obviously I've, you know, not necessarily done that with the lace before, but let's have a look and see how that looks. Well, not too bad. You know, I wondered whether you would get the impression of what that was supposed to be, but I think it works okay actually. So you could have that like that. So if I just literally glue that on, like that. Okay, like that. And then of course, you know, you could do something like a little bow at the bottom, or put a flower. Don't know if it needs one actually. Do we want a word or anything? The word's quite nice actually. So let's just ink that word up. And again, obviously these are just those little book page words that we made previously. We can just pop that on there, like that to the side. Okay, I'm just looking at the clock. So we're at 35 minutes. So we'll call this obviously quits now for today, because, you know, I don't want to obviously take up your whole weekend. So there we go. Okay. So love how that looks now. If I just bring in the pieces that we made, so let me clear this, you know, dirty piece of paper out of the way, and we will just have a look against a cleaner piece, the pieces that we've actually made today. So we have made things from this little pack of the die cuts. So we might use some more of these next weekend, because they've been pretty good and quite versatile, and actually they come out really good for the base of pieces for our journals. You know, even if at first glance they seem unsuitable. So we've made this little banner piece here. We have made this little banner piece here. We've made this, which could be like a journaling card, or obviously like a, you know, something stuck on the page. We've made this one here. And then we've made also these two gorgeous tiny little label pieces. So we've actually achieved quite a bit, I think, in the just over half an hour that we've been working. And I think they've all turned out really nice. So I hope you guys like them. Hope it's given you some ideas if you've got some old bits and bobs that you need to use up. And yeah, I hope you'll join me again next Saturday for another little bit of stash busting in our Saturday Stash Busters. So thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you again hopefully next week. Thanks then. Bye.